I awoke as if into a dream. My surroundings at first were quite the same, but then I fluttered off the floor, swept up into the air and out the door. Next thing I knew, I was flying away. Drifting away upon currents and air was I. If you ever desire to feel so free of thought, reality, stress, just lying there, sleeping on a cloud. Lucid dreaming is not the same for everyone. It also doesn't come as easy to everyone as it does to others. But I am sure many of you have probably at least thought about it. At least once in your lifetime. I've done it plenty of times. I am here to talk to you about lucid dreaming. This isn't a rat files, this isn't a lore files, this isn't really a discussion files either. Let's just call it something in the middle. We'll call it something in the middle. Let's talk about my first time I tried to lucid dream. I didn't even know what lucid dreaming was at the time. I didn't even know how to do it, what was going on. But let's just say you have a dream. You're going through the motions of whatever this dream is. The dream normally is like a movie script. And you are on rails. You're on rails, and you have to play the part. You're not really allowed to get off the rails. You have to keep to the course. You have to keep to the script. And you follow the script all the way through, and then it ends. And then you wake up. And you probably don't remember it unless it's some sort of nightmare. Lucid dreaming is the camera's film. You're partway through the movie, and you decide to throw away the script, to step off the rails, and make your own movie. That's the best analogy I could put for it. My earliest experience would have to be I was having some sort of nightmare. I believe I was 10 years old. And I was having a nightmare about, let's just say, Boogeyman A. I can't really describe it. It's some sort of creepy, crawling creature, and let's say I was afraid of it. But then I realized, somewhere in the middle of that dream, the fear dropped, and I started to question why this thing was there. This thing didn't exist in the real world. I must not be in the real world, or at least the reality I am familiar with. And the moment I came to that realization, it's as if the nightmare suddenly stopped being a nightmare. The big creepy crawly I suddenly thought was very small, and it did become very small. In fact, by my simple thinking of it being something different than what it was, that was what it became. And I realized there was no limit, really, to your dream so much, because it was only limited by your capacity to perceive what you were experiencing. I know this is very difficult. I didn't script this, and I really should have tried to, but I find that my best analogies come ad-libbed. The best way I can put this is drugs. Well, let's say you're on something that is like a hallucinogenic, right? You're on a very big hallucinogenic, and reality starts to deconstruct into your waking mind. You're looking at things, and reality begins to deconstruct. That's what lucid dreaming can be like. It's like being unconsciously conscious. So you are naturally asleep, so you're unconscious, but you are conscious while unconscious. So, like, the reality to which you are experiencing in this dream can be deconstructed and rebuilt into whatever the limitations of your mind allow it to be. And it takes a lot of work. But sometimes you can't really control what your own thoughts, because reality in the lucid dream, at least to me, would change upon the whim of your thought. Like, you couldn't even control it. It's the moment your thought changes, so changes the dream, so to speak. So that big creepy crawly that you thought now is small, you might think is a dog. You might think it's now a dog, and now it is. The big creepy crawly that you thought was a creepy crawly, that you now thought was small, is now no longer a creepy crawly. It is now a dog. And then the next thought you have is like a thought of a friend. And suddenly there he is. There's your friend. He's right there. It's like the every single thought that you have, you can construct based on experiences that you might have had, memories that you might have had, and they can be mixed and modeled and built into different shapes and sizes. For example, imagine a video game character creation. That character creation engine with all those different types of hairstyles, those skin colors, and the shapes of the arms, the shapes of the hands, the eye colors, the eyebrow styles, tattoos, all of these things. Well, imagine when you see a person in your dream and you may not recognize them. You might actually be constructing a person that is like a created character. Every single template, every single hairstyle is a hairstyle that you've seen before in some way, shape, or form. So every single one of those is pre-built into your brainal cavity, neural character creation type thing. So every time you see someone who might look a little bit different, it's because they're sharing traits and features from other things that you've seen. So when people often talk about, oh, I've seen somebody that I've never seen before in my dream, well, that might actually be a culmination of all that you've seen put together into a generated NPC in your dream. I call them NPCs. All these people that fill the dreams, that fill your classrooms. You might not recognize some of them. They might not be your friends. They might not even be your classmates if you have a school classmate dream. They might not be people that you recognize, but they are people who are constructed based on your memories of all the types of facial features and body features and all those things that your brain pre-builds together on its own. It is incredible. The perceived limits and the unperceived expansion of what you are capable of creating subconsciously. Like, you don't even know you're building it. And this comes into what I was talking about with the hallucinogenics. Because whatever you're seeing is basically lots of lights and whatnot reflected off different types of things and permutations forming colors and symbols and everything like that, and it's all being sent to your brain, and your brain is making sense of what you see. But what if we shut off what you see? You're still conscious, but we shut off what you're seeing, and your brain now can deconstruct and reconstruct whatever, and it can tell you that is what you're seeing instead. That is what you are now perceiving. Imagine that could possibly be what you're experiencing in that type of regard. I do not claim to be like a sensory processes psychologist, MD, doctorate, who spent $500,000 getting it. No, I don't claim to do that. I just have an idea of what I think it might be, and I can be completely wrong. This is what these types of things are. These might be like theory files, maybe. We'll call them theory files, I don't know. But that's what I think the lucid dreaming is that you're subconsciously conscious, and now you're capable of constructing anything within the limits and without the limits of what you have perceived culminated into a grand total. It's like the limits are the limits of your imagination, so to speak. And this goes back to dream theory. Color TV, that's a good example. That's a very good example. Color TV, I believe that's like 1940s, somewhere in the 1940s, 1930s, somewhere around there, around the time of the Wizard of Oz. I can't remember what year that came out, but that was like one of the first full Technicolor films. But around that time period, before people started watching color TV, the strangest thing was going on. People were dreaming in black and white. They were dreaming in black and white. Why were they dreaming in black and white if their conscious self could see in color? So there were other people who claimed to dream in color prior to color TV, and in that we could have our little studies of lucid dreaming to imply that the lucid dreamer could construct color in their dream, because they now realize reality is in color, is perceived to be in color, not black and white, and suddenly that which was black and white is now in color in the dream. That might actually be something I should probably do some research on. But prior to color TV, most people were dreaming in black and white, but once color TV started to become the commonality, the common standpoint, people started to dream in color. It's the idea that it's that conundrum that I often get stumped upon, but it's also fascinating that the limitations of your dreams are limited to what you've experienced, but then we have black and white dreams. But your reality is in color. I might be going off on some sort of tangent, getting me stuck in some loop that I'm not able to climb back out of, so I'm going to step back from that. And I'm going to go into a different direction. It is my belief that a lucid dream is being awake whilst being asleep, subconsciously conscious, as I constantly said and keep forgetting I've been saying. So, when you are awake whilst asleep, you can think, but you're not completely awake, so you're not capable of controlling the flow of thought. That takes a lot of control, that takes a lot of practice, but it's like once you're capable of making these commonplace subconscious routines within your lucid dream, you might be able to obtain abilities with these lucid dreams, recurring abilities that you could do without even thinking of, that you're able to do it. You just do it. For example, one of the things I talked about earlier in this little poem thing that I just had was you awoke as if into a dream, and then you floated out the door. You're flying now. Flight is one of the more popular abilities within your dream that we experience. And the method to which you start to fly is different for a lot of other people. A lot of people could tell you that, oh, I start to fly when I jump off the ground. Or another person is, I just start floating as if I'm a bubble. Another person might say something else, and something else, and something else. It's all down to their ability to perceive what they're doing, if that makes sense. So for me, flight is like you're standing on the ground. Gravity, you have a perception of gravity for some reason, but then you decide to jump, and you decide you want to fight that gravity. You're starting to fight that gravity. You're starting to float above the air of that gravity, and you're starting to go wherever you want, but you have to constantly keep thinking that that is the state of how things are. Because the moment you start thinking gravity is going to work again, then gravity is going to work again. If that makes sense. So your thought that gravity's not working, gravity suddenly doesn't work for you. But then the moment you start thinking gravity works, you're on the ground again. It's like limited to what you're thinking, your thought making is. So like the imaginative person could perceive a lot of things that might be different from you. For example, somebody who is very big into anime, particularly, for example, Dragon Ball. The lucid dreamer could start to wanting to do the Kamehameha ability, and within that lucid dream, suddenly they find they did it. They could do it. They are able to do that now because they thought about it. They thought a thought. They thought, I can do it. And then they thought, I'm gonna do it. And then they did it. They did it. And it happened in the lucid dream. So, another part that I find is interesting in these lucid dreams is the concept of doubt. The doubt in yourself. The doubt that you could do something. So, for example, when you're trying to fly and you doubt that you could fly, you could doubt that you could do something, then you can't do it. You can't get up. You can't get off the ground. If you doubt that that's able to happen because your brain is still stuck in the reality waking world and you start thinking, I can't do this, gravity doesn't work that way, then it's not going to happen for you. You have to think that reality, you have to deconstruct your perception of what something is and change it so that you can start doing something else. For example, we'll go to the critter theory. For example, imagine I see this in my dream. I see this bottle on my desk, and that's what I see in the lucid dream. And I think, all right, instead of seeing this, I am going to see this. And if I believe wholeheartedly that I'm going to be seeing this in the dream, then this goes away. This turns into this. But the moment I think, okay, this isn't what's actually there, this is what's there, then this will go away, and this will come back. If that makes sense to you. I know we should, charts and things of that nature probably wouldn't help here, so even if I had, like, editing and videos and things of that nature popping up on the screen, it would probably still be difficult to grasp your head around, so you might have to, like, maybe replay certain parts of this video to see what sane parts I'm talking about to try to capture the ideas that I'm going through. But let me try to have a TLDW, too long didn't watch. Yeah, but we'll put it at the end just to troll you. Alright, so a too long didn't watch, starting now. Lucid Dreaming. Checkbox 1. You must first accept that you are in a dream. Accept the dream. but you don't wake up. Accept the dream, you don't wake up. Step 2. Do not accept reality to be as you perceive it in waking. 2, 3. Reality is limited only to what you think it is. 3 simple steps. You cannot read that. I might just end up typing that down anyways. But if you want to pause that and read that, if you want to pause that and read that yourself, you go right ahead. Step 1. Accept the dream. Accept that you are dreaming. Step 2. Do not accept reality to be as you perceive it in the waking world. Step 3. Realize that reality is limited only to what you think reality is. Reality and what you can do in the dream is limited only to what you think you can do. And once you start doubting that you think you can do it, then you can't do it. For example, in my dream, I believe that I have telekinesis. I can move things in the dreams. It's a subconscious acceptance that in the reality of the dream world, I can do that. So I don't even have to think I could do that. In the dreaming world, I could just hold out my hand and think, this thing is going to float into my hand, and boom, there it is. It's right now in my hand. And then I could just throw it away. And then I could just hold out my hand and think, alright, I want this to construct itself and come into my hand. And boom, there it is. It's now in my hand. And then, boom, it's gone. It's as simple as that to me. To me, it's as simple as that. It's as if you have just unlocked creative mode in Minecraft, and you are limited only to what you can build, so to speak. But it's a bit more complex than that, because, you know, the blocks that you build in Minecraft, they stay there. Even though you think that they're not there anymore, they're still there. But, it's like, it's only there so long as you think it's there. And once you think it's not there anymore. So the big beastie, creepy, crawly of the nightmarish origins, it's going to be there if you think it's there. It's if you accept that it is there in the dream. But when in the lucid dream, the difference in the lucid dream, once you accept it and you change the reality, you think, this is no longer going to be there. This is no longer going to be there. Then it's not. It could be anything you want it to be. Anything. If you think that this has helped you at all for this dreaming ramble discussion, I'll probably call them the Ramble Files, then great. I'd honestly like to hear your thoughts on lucid dreaming. I'd honestly like to hear what you think about lucid dreaming and your experiences. If you've lucid dreamed before, how do you do it? What are your abilities in the lucid dreaming, and how do you conjure those abilities and maintain it, so to speak? I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts. Please maybe make a comment in the below, or maybe like the video if you liked it, maybe subscribe if you haven't already, maybe recommend this video, maybe copy the link and paste it to your friends if they're interested in these topics. Maybe that way we can expose and expand the conversation and the discussion. Remember, folks, reality is limited to only what you think it is in the dream world.